You're listening to the Veteran Etc. podcast, as there's always more to be said about a veteran. Join your host, Mike Kim, a veteran, ex-monk, seasoned war trauma therapist, and writer, as he shares his years of research in veteran readjustment culture and the meaning of warrior life. Now, here's your host, Mike Kim.
Veteran Etc. This is a show that's based on veteran culture and veteran readjustment culture. Veteran readjustment culture concept I innovated, created, and developed going back to the 90s. I basically want to look at the lives of veterans before they went into the military, after, and during. This is a special time because I have a great Marine and just a great human being. We go back to the VFW parties when I had more time in my life to be a part of, and luckily we're privileged to have Marco Gutierrez join us today, as he's going to talk about his life and some of his life views. Marco, thanks for joining us, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a first generation son of Colombian and Peruvian immigrants, born and bred here in New York City. I was a Marine infantryman.
Huh?
I was a contractor, military contractor. I did some contracts for the military and for DHS, Department of Homeland Security. College grad, got a bachelor's in criminal justice. My biggest achievement is being a dad. That's what I'm most proud of now. I've also been VFW commander here in Astoria, Queens, and currently hold an administrative role for the state, for New York State.
Awesome. In a veteran capacity or in another capacity?
Not an exclusive veteran capacity, but I do help. I work for the Department of Labor, and I do help claimants that find themselves unemployed. I help them find employment, help them get back on their feet, make sure they got all the tools necessary to get back out to the workforce, interview properly, resumes, doing job search, things of that nature.
Let me ask you this, Marco, because you and I have been in dialogue for a number of years, and there's no doubt that if you weren't worth your salt, you wouldn't have been VFW commander for that legendary post. And again, people know that I hate all veteran service organizations, but I do love some of them. So that's the irony. But like your post has a lot of history and tradition, and you wouldn't have been chosen to be commander unless you were worth your salt, as well as your Marine Corps experience, which is pretty heavy, and you've always been humbled. You've always been humble about it, and your career as a contractor, which wasn't like a 2 month hitch. Like you've been around, and then also knowing about like the veteran terrain. You and I have had numerous discussions throughout the years regarding veteran readjustment. You were around in the veteran scene when I was not doing research, and I was out in the community doing veteran work. And we've had like a lot of discussions and a lot of pen pal kind of experiences talking about like the veteran terrain. As you and I both pride ourselves as far as being vet dads. I want to get involved in all of that, but I think that something that a lot of folks would want to know is your take on like veteran employment, because there's so much going on there. There's so much. I mean, Joe Bello was interviewed a couple weeks ago, and we spoke about just veteran services, but we didn't get that specific into veteran employment. And that's always been an issue for me, because listen, you get out of the military, you do all these different great things. I'm not saying everybody did those things, but there are a lot of us that did do very interesting things with heavy responsibility. And next thing you know, we're out in the civilian world, and people want to either hire us to, be a security guard at Dwayne Reed, or work at a laundromat, and it's like they say that jobs are available, but at the same time, my big question was, what type of vet jobs are available, and what are the challenges, and where do you think things can go? And I know that the opinions and the views in this discussion are not tied to any politics or any type of governmental agency whatsoever. So that's a disclaimer.
Absolutely, yes. My opinions are my own. They're not representative of New York State or any government or any Department of Labor statistics. Just what I've seen and what I think. Um,
As you and I being veterans and having a discussion about the veteran terrain going back many years, like
yeah.
what are some of the things that noticed, and what you notice now?
Well, I've never had an issue finding a job. People are willing to give me jobs just because I'm a veteran. I come to find out, there's incentives for businesses to hire veterans. There's tax breaks and whatnot. Plus, a veteran, it should be more than just a tax break. You come with leadership already built in. Experienced leadership and functionality and a whole set of technical skills.
Mhm.
Of course, across all kinds of different industries. The responsibility. So you're not hiring somebody just new. You're hiring somebody that's entry level. You're hiring somebody that's like that's been around. And that's been able to be held accountable before. So that's the veteran appeal. However, these jobs are available versus maybe the veteran's attitude. Uh, it might not be matching that high speed environment or that we're so used to. It's not adrenaline pumped, and that causes a lot of turnarounds and a lot of boredom with positions. Um, I think that the opportunities are certainly increasing, especially right now. There's a lot of great opportunities for veterans to get ahead, not just with GI Bill and school with that, but there's plenty of incentives. There's one great incentive that I'm using myself. Uh, it's a it's a online educational platform. It's providing free certifications, free professional development.
Which ones would you say could be something that a listener can refer to someone to, or that they themselves can be a part of?
Coursera, Coursera.org. I believe every state has every state Department of Labor is in agreement with them, or has an agreement with them, where they have a veterans incentive. I know certainly New York State has, and they're providing the free certifications. I'm taking project management courses and
Mhm.
cybersecurity courses, and these are sponsored by different universities from all across the country. This is an incredible opportunity. If you go look at these certification programs if you go look at it on their own, they're upwards of thousands and thousands of dollars.
I hope
Uh,
they have a certification in being a male stripper, because though I'm 54, um, I still got it in me for that. But going on to be on a more serious note, you're talking about some real serious skills that go beyond driving Uber and pizza delivery and stuff like that. So Coursera, that's something that is on. You see, I didn't know about that. And I don't think a lot of our viewers know about what you just said. So these are opportunities happening right now that folks can kind of like tap into, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Right now, and like I said, I don't work for Coursera. I don't make anything for it. I think it's a great program. Everybody should take advantage of it.
Mhm.
And it really gives you the ability to put those certifications and put those credentials, add those credentials to the skills that you probably already have as a veteran, with that leadership, and put you at the forefront of the labor market force. Uh, not only are you, yes, a veteran and you have that leadership, but now you have that bona fide certificate that's saying, you can handle projects, and which most of us already did anyway. So it's a great opportunity to really just get out there and handle a different type of task that we may be more familiar with, and it's not just the mundane, the usual, 9 to 5 job, or just a regular job, just to go check to check. This is something that's may fill that void, which I
Yeah,
think is
and
a big thing with veterans, filling that void.
I think you're right. And I also have heard of an insider who is tied to the federal public health service. He had said that a lot of federal jobs, and I don't know how the state is right now, but because of pandemic and the new funding that's being pushed, from up top down, there's like a lot of opportunities for folks to apply for state jobs, federal jobs, and local jobs, and having those certifications can be very helpful. Have
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have you heard about any of that in regards to government jobs, that there is there's somewhat of a growing need for government employment?
Yes, actually, the Office of Cannabis Management here in New York State,
Okay.
I believe they're doing a big push towards veterans, both as licensing and also always as employees, as state employees.
Wow. Okay.
New agency. It's a new agency, new office that's opening up. There's a I couldn't tell you what positions are available or what opportunities are available,
Yeah.
but with this big rush that's kind of like springing up on states here and there, I wouldn't be surprised if there's offices all over the country that are opening up and with incentives towards veterans.
Yeah, so that's I mean, this show's mostly about getting the word out, and then, as you and I know, the veteran, him or herself, has to do the legwork, when they get tips and they get leads from, different sources like this, you know, have the hope and have the willpower, just like you did when you were wearing a uniform, to follow up with a lot of this stuff. Um, so yeah, I think this is like much more promising than like in the past, where it was just like vets were just, I guess, it needed some time for the state and the feds to kind of like see what vets really needed, and so it was just like all that was like really open was like security, or what was it? It was like security and like fast food, you know, like basic service, as far as jobs. And I know there's just a lot of efforts being done nowadays to kind of improve things. Um, what else can you say about like veteran transition, as far as what kind of message could you give someone uh, if they're trying to find a job or something, or if they get discouraged?
I think mental health is paramount
Hmm.
with veterans and just with everyone in general,
Hmm.
and it heavily affects transition times, and having a good network and having a good team behind you. I think that's key to moving forward and getting motivated to continue on, because not everything is going to be the military. You're told what you got to do. You're told what you're expected, and then you wake up and you're a civilian, and now you got to figure it out. Tomorrow's not promised. You don't know what's going on as far as work, and where you're going to get how you're going to pay for food and rent and take care of your family, and make auto payments. So it puts on a lot of pressure, and it's important to have that continuous motivation. The opportunities are out there, but I believe it's always on the individual veteran to be in a good place mentally, to accept different challenges and to open yourself. I'm a firm believer, especially in my role now. Uh, I I I tell people to go after something that's going to make them happy. To be at a place of employment that's going to make you happy. Because once you're happy where you're working, it's no longer work. Now you're just enjoying, and that's how I feel. I've been there for 3 years. Never thought I'd work behind the desk. I love it. I love helping people. It makes me happy. Go after what makes you happy. Whether it's in the arts, or it's whether it's something technical, or computers, or film industry, whatever it is. Cooking, culinary. Just follow your passions. There's so many incentives out there. The networking between veterans is increasing. All the time. All the programs that are available now, they're I don't know, 20, 30 fold more than when I got out. And it's great to see everybody working together, and everybody putting forth this effort. So there's programs out there. You just gotta look for them. Local Department of Labor offices. There's always a veteran rep there that's willing to help. They exist there solely to help veterans. So the resources are out there.
Yep. And I know that our show is sponsored by a larger network, Coming Home Well, and they've done a lot of work with the veteran office in the state of Virginia. And, it's like, yeah, they have all these offices down there, just like in New York, where, veterans can go and get like help with many different things, including employment. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And, I'm just brought up, or how can I say, I'm just brought back to like the Esquire magazine article where, Robert O'Neill, the Navy SEAL who shot Osama bin Laden, he was he was not at that particular time, like he wasn't allowed, or he chose not to have his name uh placed in that big article back in 2013. But he talks a lot about like what shortly happened after uh being such a revered hero. Basically, he got out, um, and he was like kind of like stuck as a civilian, as a nobody, and was struggling, financially, everything else, because certain things weren't kicking in. I struggled a couple times because I was in the military a couple times, like right after. It's not like uh certain funding gets to you immediately, and you have to deal with the reality of hurry up and wait. And that becomes a challenge. And so it's like what you're saying is a very positive thing. And it gives people hope, because it's not just a Rob O'Neill. I mentioned Rob O'Neill because if it could happen to a guy like Rob O'Neill, or even like a Rudy Reyes, or someone like me, with like vast, like education and all that, and be like in these choke points, um, it can happen to any veteran.
Absolutely. I've lived that myself. I think life's a learning experience, and you fall down, you get yourself back up. Um, and there was a big period of my time when I was just falling down, and I was just going around in circles, and you just couldn't figure out what the next move was, and it just wasn't plain as day as things are now. And thankfully, things happened for me, and I had the right team in place.
Mm.
Also, the birth of my son was a great motivator as well. Put things into reality, put things into check, and um, that mental health, the therapy too, that I've been involved with for years,
Mm.
has all clicked together. Everything's all works together, and um, there's no timeline. There is no timeline. There's no formula that works. What works for me isn't going to work for you. Isn't going to work for the next guy, the next woman. Um, but it's definitely something that you should be aware of, and um, it's stressful enough that unfortunately people take their lives over, and or they lose it and do worse and hurt other people. They go down a spiral, and hopefully anybody hearing that message can can realize it, or if you know somebody, reach out and see what can be done. 'Cause there's always out there, and I'd much rather hear a comeback story than hear of yet another friend or another guy that I work with, whether it was for a company or back in the Corps, that off himself. I just couldn't take it.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say that you you know you were around in the veteran terrain where it was really a lot of stuff going on, because the wars were still going on, and then a lot of services throughout the community were just kind of scattered and not as centralized as maybe now, and it was just like a real struggle. I know with me, my aha moment, or what kind of brought me to a higher place where I wasn't going to you know just continue that spiral was the birth of my son, and then you know, checking myself in that process as he got older. Now he's 12, and I'm shocked that throughout the years, I've been able to kind of like still work with that whole transition as far as being, a vet dad and stuff. How has that been with you?
It's been a beautiful experience. It's been a great motivator to continue going, to come back to the drawing board, to definitely curve, certain old bad habits,
Mhm,
and just get my head back in the game,
mhm.
because the laughter and the smiles that I see, and that's just like that's everything for me. So if I could get more, I know I gotta stick around, and I gotta provide more to feel more laughters and more smiles. So it's been paramount to my growth, and it's still continuous thing. I still have challenges now, and I think I'll always have. I think we always have it, and it's like I said, it's just it's an experience, and it's been it's been wonderful. I just I accept more challenges and more even difficulties, because it's an opportunity to learn and to do better. So I welcome it all. It's
Yeah, yeah, it sounds that way. And also, I've known you for a little bit, and it's I've seen you, really kind of step up with your readjustment, and really be a great example for others, and not to kind of whatever, put it in people's face. But this is a life or death type of situation that a lot of people may not like understand out in the regular world. And it's just, you know, it's a process, and investing in that process is important. And I guess I noticed that, like with Marco, and that's why, I invited him to come and share a part of his life with us. And um, let me ask you this, because think people would be interested in this, because you had like the unique life of not just being, like combat marine and everything, in just historical, Fallujah, and yeah, like it says volumes. But at the same time, you were able to shift into like contract work, which pretty much like the military, like the last phase of the Afghanistan war was was mostly contract. And in Iraq, there was a huge contract presence all throughout the war in Iraq. So I was just wondering, can you say a little bit about that, as well as like what your um I don't know, what your outlook is on all that.
sure, yeah. I did some contract work back in '05 and '06, abroad and domestically. My time abroad was pretty rock and roll. Um, And I see it just from a business standpoint, or from a professional standpoint, it is necessary. It's more cost effective. You're using an already trained unit to take care of or handle situations, and it's relieving pressure from the overextended military that may or may not be trained, or may or may not be fully equipped to handle whatever the task assigned is.
Mhm.
Without saying too much,
Do you think that your experience as a contractor was mirroring the same values as when you were in uniform as a Marine, like to accomplish the mission as a contractor?
absolutely, absolutely. At least the units that I was with, and the organization I was with, very professional. It was a great experience, great time, and the safety was paramount. Especially since it involved all of us coming home, or apologize for the noise.
Yeah,
Uh,
we don't hear it, so it's
oh,
fine.
yeah? Okay, wonderful. Um, the mission success it involved all of us coming home, and whoever our principal was coming home as well.
Okay.
So as far as like to the ethos, yeah, absolutely. My experience, I can only speak about my experience. I know there's a lot of different things that happen out there with different companies and different personnel, but it's an unpredictable environment where
Did you feel, I'm sorry, unpredictable environment? Could you say more?
at the time and place, I guess the political climate of the area was very volatile. Um, you don't have the support that you do as a military unit.
Mhm.
You do not have the support. We're not going in there in a combat facility. We in a combat capacity. We may be armed to the teeth, but we can't call tanks in to come support us. We can't call helicopters coming to support us. We can't call in artillery. We can't call in any of that. We get separated. That's us. We're us. Well, we can maybe make a radio call for help, and if there's a react team that our own react team can is available, or if there's a military react team that may be available, then we can consider ourselves lucky. But other than that, you never know what's going to happen. At the time, it was very, very IED heavy time. A lot of suicide bombs at the time.
Yeah. So then, yeah, so yeah, I can appreciate your input. Did you have to worry about like insurance and I'm just like saying that because if anybody was like interested in doing contracting or whatever, like what are some things that you can advise them? Again, it's just your experience.
Yeah, you're gonna have to shop around for life insurance. Uh, I don't recall the company, but it was a company out of Britain that would insure me. There might be more. I mean, we're talking about 15 years back. So I mean,
Yeah.
the climate has changed.
You would suggest insurance though to get?
Yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
yes. You're yeah, if you have a family, have people depend on you, sure, absolutely. I'd 100% recommend it. Your medical should be covered by the company for the
Okay.
most part. Medical is covered
Mhm.
by the company, but life insurance is definitely something that I would advise.
Okay. That's cool. That's good enough to ask. That's good enough of a response. Um, and then like you got caught up with like doing security also like at clubs and all this and executives and all that. What do you have like any interesting um I don't know observations or any like short stories that you found interesting in that? Because I think people like we had this one recon Marine, his like like on the show, and he's Stuart Doyle. He's very like passive looking, but he's like an MMA fighter, really hardcore, like really savage, but very just like very calm and very contemplative and very, and yet he spent like, time doing, you know, that type of security like out in Hollywood and stuff. And so it's just like a great, like, to get like great like stories and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
With on the executive protection part here locally or stateside, I want to make my principal a hard target. So I always did everything, and our team did everything to uh, make ourselves seen and to make ourselves known, make our presence known. And in doing that, you deter a lot. A lot of it is deterrence. You don't want to act. You don't want to catch yourself in a situation. You don't. That's all Hollywood and that's all movies. You just want to deter that, and a lot of it just doesn't involve being a tough guy. A lot of it just involves dialogue and talking to people and just letting them know that you're aware that you see them, letting them know that you're not on your phone. You're looking around. You're being alert. It is the majority of it. No funny stories. No nothing. Everything was relatively smooth on that aspect.
Do you have to get
Um,
retrained in any way, or did you have to go like through some extra training for some of that?
when I contracted, we did like a whole school for about 3 months, and then I would do refresher courses about every year. So I'd fly out and do a course, do like a shoot course. Some MMA they do like workshops on
Mhm.
different areas. But nightlife, I'd say
Is that different or?
it is different. It's very different because you're dealing with alcohol, people that are under
Mm.
the influence,
Mhm.
and that's just a whole different ballgame because that's really unpredictable, and anything can happen, and you're dealing with people that are just crying and just want to talk to you, and then you're doing your job as well, and fights break out and weapons, and so it's an interesting, funny mess.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm uh, I'm so relieved to be working in the role that I am working now. Um, I I think even just that looking at it from the supervisor and the management position that I had, it was a headache enough. I think that's one area of security that I'd probably um, enjoyed my time with, and I'd close the chapter on that one.
Mhm. Mhm.
But definitely open to other types and executive protection always.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you've had like that diverse uh role in or different faces in that role. And so that's great to know. I didn't know I didn't know some of those things. So yeah, like when looking at some of the things that we've talked about throughout the years as far as like different books or like different like uh, different like cultural things that have happened like in the veteran world, military world. um what, as far as like the depictions of veterans and soldiers and stuff, like in like the books and everything, what in movies, what are your views on that? I just remember we had some pretty interesting discussions about some of those.
My views have changed. My views have changed
Okay.
as I've gotten older, and I've become more welcoming of other people's individual experiences.
Hmm.
The war and just that whole experience is different for every person, and it could be me and four buddies experience the same exact thing, and it affects everybody differently. It's a different memory for everybody, and it would be a different retelling from each point of view as well.
Hmm.
Um, I I tend to avoid a lot of military productions. Just inaccuracies irk me. And I just media just got flooded with TV shows and movies and all that.
Hmm.
Uh, I just I just shied away from it.
Mhm.
There are some decent depictions.
Hmm.
Um, American Sniper,
Hmm.
so fine example.
Hmm.
Um, the books that I tend to read on, everybody has a memoir.
Hmm.
A book that
What catches light to you?
yes
I
is
know we,
it's
I know we talked about a lot of different things in the past, and we haven't recently because you've been caught up as a dad, and I have as well as school. So, but like, yeah, what were you gonna say as far as like a book or something that
yes
stands out?
a book that just really captures or that really resonated with me.
Yeah,
It's called Paco's Story. I
I
can't
heard about
remember
it. I heard about it. I heard about it.
I can't remember the author's name right now, but
Mhm.
it's a
Why
book.
did you like it?
Why didn't I like it, or why
No,
did I like it?
why did you like it?
Because you're really inside the head of a veteran of somebody that's trying to make sense of their experiences and their recovery process and their fumbles and the true honesty that the author was able to convey
Mm.
um, was just very very unapologetic depiction of what like mental suffering and what that anguish of maybe survivor's guilt or just memories and just getting lost in your thoughts as well uh, during everyday activities, like riding the bus and staring out the window and the floodgates that a smell can induce or that a song can induce. So it was a great depiction that I think kind of steered away from the mainstream uh, stories that are out there about veterans.
I was just looking at I didn't mean to take my attention off you, but you as you were talking about Paco's story, I was brought back to this movie I saw back in when it first came out, like 2004, like right after, like a year after Iraq, and I was seeing like the first wave of like veterans coming back from Iraq, and the thing is that there was a movie. This movie, it wasn't even done in the United States, but I would say it's the best readjustment movie, period. And it was done in Peru, and it was
About
about,
a Navy SEAL.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
Diaz de Santiago, Day of,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Did you
I've
see
been
it?
trying to remember the name of that movie. Jesus,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason why I said that is because how you described Paco's story. Do you feel that that movie, again, captured? I mean, it went into the guy's mind.
Yes.
It went into his day-to-day life, from everything that we talked about regarding readjustment,
Yes.
in a deeper way than even, I mean, I'll say even deeper than like American Sniper. Deep, like this movie is just like it should be depicted in American cinema to help people
Yes.
understand what
100%.
transition is about. I mean, it was raw. It was. Did you ever see that one movie with Christian Bale, Harsh Times, I think,
Yeah.
where he's a ranger. I liked that movie a lot.
Mhm.
I liked it, but
Mhm.
but this movie was better because
Yeah.
it was more realistic,
Mhm.
like much more realistic. Like it was like you could see, you know, transition from day one until, like however long, he's going through his whole, post military, life. I'm glad you
Yeah.
saw it. Very few have seen that
Yes.
movie.
Yes. The whole acceptance of self and the rejection of like where he presently is, the disappointment. You go from being something so celebrated and so great and so revered to being ordinary and unemployed.
Right. And even trying to go to school and trying to, you know, trying to do the right thing that society wants a veteran to do, but to a certain extent, not it's not that the veteran doesn't have the capabilities, but more that the veteran and the one depicted in this movie kind of amplifies that when you're stuck, you're stuck, and it's just, you know, trying to get like unstuck. But you know, you can have everything and still be stuck. I guess that's the beauty of the movie that describes, I think, any veteran that really went through like any type of struggle, you know, war or not war, you know, because there's guys that, you know, experience you know, problems in the military and they didn't go through war, you know, they had like problems, you know, on ship, or they whatever, they were stationed somewhere and they were exposed to some, you know, horrible stuff. And it's just like I like the movie because it just showed, you know, kind of like, you know, a veteran with extreme circumstances, but was able to kind of like not normalize it, but expose what these things look like.
Yeah, you brought back a flood of memories. It's a great depiction, and um, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure many could resonate with that. It's just it's a beautiful storytelling of real good take on the inside happenings and inside thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm glad we both shared that, because it's been a while since we've had like discussions and stuff. So I'm I always love it when you know, like having the show, because I catch up with people or even new people that I don't really know, and there's like a topic that, you know, I wanted to hit, and you know, we're able to do it on you know, on the show. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and so that's cool. What do you think in regards to, you know, as we kind of close up, like as far as like motorcycle riding? I know there were years that, you know, you were really intense, and you know, being, you know, I think we're there's like a 15-year age gap, or you know, but like I was writing a long time ago, and then I stopped writing, and then you're writing a lot, and you were part of a club. I don't know if you're still part. I don't know. I just need an update because it's been a while since we spoke, and I just started getting back into writing. But like I've spent a year keeping it in the garage, so I got to check on my bike. I don't even know. Wait, I may have to have it AAA because with the fuel,
Yeah,
I
have
don't
you
know if that
maintained?
went,
Yep.
huh?
Yeah, winterize it. Yeah, and definitely get some maintenance done. Yeah, with me, I'm not with the club right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just took some time to just focus on my family.
Yeah,
Writing is such it's like the best therapy. Spell therapy. It's you're on that motorcycle. It's just you and the road and your thoughts. And just maybe that quietness. Not even your thoughts. It's just that quietness, and that's what did it for me. That's what does it for me. Right now, it's something that I'm looking to get back into as things are calming down more in my life, and I have a little bit more time, not a lot more time, a little bit more time.
mhm,
Going to make sure I take out some time for myself as well.
mhm.
Go on some rides and just clear out whatever the week's baggage is, or the day's baggage. That's definitely something up coming right now. I'm sitting on my bike right now.
Oh, cool.
My little one threw away my keys,
Mm,
so that's that's the next project. Getting this bike rekeyed,
okay.
so I could take it on a ride or two.
Yeah, well, once you have that, you know, I definitely, and yeah,
100%.
we got to go for a ride, and I gotta at least within the next couple weeks get start the bike up, because that fuel, I don't want it to be rancid. But it's in a nice garage. It's in a, you know, I've got the battery charge on it. I just, you know, I've been so caught up with school, and I just haven't had the time, and then I was in Hawaii for 4 months, so that 3 months or something. So I just wasn't, I just forgot that I had the bike. So, but a bike is, it's like a kid, you can't neglect it, or else, it's yeah, it
Well,
definitely has its needs. But yeah, once you get it, I forgot, do you have a Victory? Is that
I
what?
used to have a Victor. I used to have a Victor. I have a chopper now.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Well, that's great that we connected. Any last words for folks before we end?
Hey, just keep the communication open with the veteran community, and hopefully any information that I passed on today were useful. Thanks for hearing me.
It
Thanks for
was.
having me, Mike.
Yeah, it is definitely useful. Our viewers were able to kind of get to know you, and to also like learn a little bit about what's been happening out in the veteran employment terrain. They also kind of like learned a little bit about the different things that we've been talking about regarding veteran culture, and readjustment culture. These are things that are like often not mentioned in a lot of podcasts. It's mostly just kind of like, um just bromancing, military bromancing, and not getting into like some issues. That's not a bad thing. I mean, we did some of that here, but uh I just appreciate that we were able to get deep into different things, and take it to the next level, the human level, the deeper human level, that we're a part of, and hopefully our message can uh, help someone know more about our community, and if you're a veteran, to know more about your own community, and know that we're around as veterans, to be there as assets. So have a great uh, evening, and thank you for this interview.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great one, and Semper Fi.
Do or die.
Bye.
Veteran Etc. invites you to join us again with your host, Mike Kim, every Sunday. If the content from this podcast is informative to you, please share the podcast with others. Give a like and/or post something you learned from the episode on social media. If interested in other truly informative podcasts like Veteran Etc., check out cominghomewell.com for a listing of other veteran-based podcasts. Thank you for tuning in.